I am disappointed. To be honest, I'm disappointed. Yeah, like it's that was a very confusing first episode. And not like confusing. It's like I don't get what's happening. Not in that kind of I'm just like maximum confused. Not in that sense. More in the maybe not confusing is the best word, but something where it's like more. No, I think confusing still sticks here, but it's like how I say unnecessary confusing. That more like that. Not that the episode is impossible to understand, but it feels like there is a lot of stuff here that is unnecessary confusing. Did it have to be this complicated? Something like that, where I feel that this could have been way more streamlined, and something people are gonna say, and I mean streamlined in the good sense of the word, not the streamlined as in the game is so easy and you can just play it. And I mean more like why is it unnecessary complicated, right? I'm not a big fan of like you see he's in the cave and then the flashback how he got into the cave. But they're going back and forth, so first we are here in timeline, right? And then they kind of jump here a bit, then they kind of jump back again, and then they jump back again, and then suddenly they jump here suddenly. It's like 9 days before, and then they jump here again. Yeah, and it's like it's here. And it's yeah, exactly. This felt like you were seeing like day 9, day 11, day 9. Day 1 suddenly, and then it's 11, and then 15. Yeah, it's like really weird. Why not just doing it from 1 to 15? That just made it very, and I think that's what I mean with really confusing, because it's like it's very unnecessary that you're doing that. It just makes you wonder why it's happening. You can still follow it. I mean, it's not impossible to understand what's happening. I just feel like I have to, think about it more. That I don't want to think about it. Yeah, like why am I thinking so much about it? So that was obviously, in my opinion, just negative. I think it was very, very unnecessary doing that. It felt completely pointless. Especially I think when he was on the bridge, I think it was, and they were jumping back to him in the cave when he's like dying with one arm, and then I was thinking that okay, so now that is over, someone shot him in the face. And okay, so that's how he could fall down. Now we're back to him surviving. Okay, fine, I get it. Someone betrayed him, whatever. Let's go on with the current day. And then suddenly they still jump back to the bridge after that, like 2 minutes later, after he shot in the face. It was the behemoth kind of falling down, not over him, but almost kind of over him. And that felt really necessary. That for me felt incredibly weird production-wise. Like honestly, really, because it would be way better to have him shot in the face, right? And then it's like, oh, and then he's not show anything more, or in the face, and then it's like he was behind him, like, oh shit, and then instead of doing shot in the face, 3 minutes, behemoth, yeah, like that feels really weird. That second, that last jump back and forth felt very necessary because it was so short to the behemoth thing. The last behemoth scene was just like I don't know, 10 seconds, and then it's back again. So it's like very, very confusing. As a flashback, yeah, badly flashback. But I don't know. I have to say, of course, I'm a hopeful person. I hope that episode 2 is gonna be much better, right? Hopefully they stop this like jumping back and forth and just kind of do a storyline. So that was confusing. Another thing. This is gonna sound very negative, but I'm always saying I'm an honest reviewer, right? I'm always an honest reviewer. I feel like I don't get why they didn't do the typical isekai thing. I don't get why they didn't do he is there. We saw it in the opening. They get transported from their classroom into the next world, and I don't get why they didn't just show us that instead. Why not? I mean, in a way, I get they kind of want to have the betrayal and making him go crazy, but what is complicated here, I feel. From like an isekai, like a game development, whatever you call it, perspective, it's kind of like instead of learning with the player, with the character, learning with him how the game world works. So we learn the game rules, the different jobs. He has a synergist job, right? The different abilities or leveling or XP or however that works. We're just kind of thrown in there. He's already in the cave, and he's like, "Oh, I'm level 5 now. Oh, and I ate a wolf. No, I'm level Kaneki." Yeah, it's like he kind of does that thing, and it doesn't really like explain to us. And what I didn't like that most was that he's in the cave, sees the holy water crystal thing, and that's holy water. And he's like, oh yeah, I know this thing. This is the legendary crystal of this thing. And I'm just like, okay, right? That feels weird to me. Usually we have the isekai heroes, they get into the new world, and they don't know jack shit, right? They have to go around and be like, oh, what is this thing? You have to read the books, and then we as the viewer learn with them. Oh, okay, legendary crystal, interesting. And then we see the crystal, that's the legendary crystal they mentioned last episode. Then we know that, right? Oh yeah, that's true, that's how that thing works. But now he already knows that. Doesn't explain it to us, the viewer. He doesn't even explain it to us why it creates it. Oh yeah, crystal, yeah. Like, it doesn't even explain it. We're very, very taken for granted. That also felt unnecessarily confusing, especially in the sense that he's getting bullied too, right? So that's good. Yeah, I've only been for a few weeks, right? But we as the viewer doesn't really know that, right? We don't know how long it's been in the cave, doesn't know how long they've been there, and we understand he's being bullied. We see him being kicked and so on, so we get typical underdog story. I say it again, it feels similar to Shield Hero, right? In that sense, otherwise like Kaneki and also Rimuru, a lot of slime, but it's confusing that we're not seeing more of that. I would have preferred seeing more of the bullying. I love, like I want to see people getting, but I think that would have been good because it's kind of like, okay, so the girl that likes him, she's a priest, she's a nice priest. Obviously, I think it's the red guy, what his name is, obviously he wants her, right? Because he's a hot priest and he probably shot him in the face because he wants the girl, right? But it really is like, why? What are the other powers? Why is everyone hating him so much? Why did everyone else get the? We don't even know like what the other roles are. We know that she's a priest, but the rest we don't know. But apparently they're much more manly and paladin or something warrior. Who knows, right? But like just having that better explained, you spending like 2-3 minutes introducing the other characters just quickly, right? It's like, yeah, this guy's a warrior. He's a douchebag warrior. This guy is a rogue, douchebag rogue. Just doing that right quickly. See him being bullied. He's like, oh, I can't fight this guy because I'm used to a synergist, and the mean Amazon lady punches me every day and she's much stronger than me, and like just getting something like that would have been much more reasonable, I feel, much more understandable on what's happening, right? And now we know nothing about other characters. We just know that he is weak, I guess. And then he kind of eats the wolves and so on and gives like Kaneki powers for some reason. That made absolutely no sense, except that maybe his synergist power actually gives him, I don't know, being able to like transmute food and learning their powers, which also feels strange to me, honestly, because it means he's not a synergist, he's a blue magician, right? He's a blue mage. Synergist, of course, in like if I fancy, synergist is a buffer and rebuffer class, so you can like buff stuff and so on, or you can combine stuff, yeah. But the typical blue mage, like Rimuru, blue mage, right? The slime thing is you eat stuff, you learn their abilities, you consume them, right? Or the eagle eye skill and your heroes and so on, yeah. So you learn your enemy's abilities. What's that called now in Breath of Fire? I think it's also constantly with eye, yeah, Hawkeye, something like that. Dragon Eye, something like that. You copycat them, or like of course a Sharingan and so on, yeah. So it's something like that, I guess. He actually consumes the wolves and the rabbit, and then he learns their abilities. That's the secret of his synergy skill, probably, right? So if he just eats his classmate, he gets the powers. Something like that. But he didn't seem to realize it. And he just kept leveling up. It was really not explained either, right? It was really not explained how it worked or how much XP he was gaining. And he kind of jumped in levels to... Yeah, the whole scene is kind of weird because he went from like 6 to 8 to 12 and he jumped over those levels in between. And I'm getting that they are trying to tell us that this is happening during several days or something, or a week or so, yeah, like a week something like that. But they're not explaining that this could have been for like a year, or it could be for one day. It doesn't really give a time frame at all. And they're jumping again over levels. Because I'm thinking, right, when he gets out there, he's gonna get out there, go back to his priest girl, and she's like, oh, I thought you were dead, so I've been doing this guy for 3 years now. Or it's gonna be like, oh, you fell out yesterday. We were just doing a recipe party. Yeah, so that doesn't really feel the way I understand either. I don't know. Yeah. That felt confusing and unnecessary weird. And see him studying, and it really didn't... Like someone betrayed him, shot him in the face, and it really didn't motivate that. It didn't motivate why someone hates him except the typical "I want your girlfriend" kind of thing. But we only saw one guy smirking at "I want that girl," so I guess it's him, right? That should have been a lot more developed too. I feel why someone hates him or something like that. They could have. I think one scene that I think would add a lot is having the scene before they get transported to the isekai world, in the typical school world, and we're seeing maybe like him talking to this cute girl, right? And then the other guy's like, "Damn it, I want this girlfriend," or something like that. Whatever it would be, some kind of like altercation or something, some event before when they were living in a normal human life, right? I think that could have added a lot in why someone hates him or something like that. I think they could be doesn't have to be overly explained, but it's like a little bit. Maybe in a flashback. Probably will happen eventually. But it felt like it was kind of strange now, or I think I would prefer it a lot if it started in the world, seeing them being transported, and then having a quick. It has to be like 10 minutes, quick few minutes of a quick, explanation of who they are. Oh, I'm the warrior lady, I'm the swordsman, yeah, I'm this thing, and then they use it very quickly, very quick, like you're showing the different abilities. I would have the isekai in the opening though, so we know it's an isekai because they did show the transportation in the openings. We know it's happening. We know it's happening. We know it happens. So it's isekai off screen, yeah. So I had one of those Rule 34 mangas, which is like gender bender mangas, which is like it's so much on Deku for some reason. But it's like there's no gender bender transformation scene in the actual Rule 34 manga here in Doshini. But if you read it, you know that the characters are gender bender because you have seen the original. There is no gender bender happening, so it's still called gender bender. It's kind of like that here. It's like there's no isekai happening, but you know it's isekai because they have it over there off meta knowledge. Isekai, yeah. They told us that in the opening, so we know what's happening. But just picture that, right? The isekai and quickly going over the different roles and why he's so weak and everyone hates him and so on. Doing that and then just actually going on an adventure. Not jump back and forth, just going on an adventure. Jump 10 days and then go on an adventure, yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna watch this episode and hope it's gonna be good, right? Yeah, probably. It feels like they want to jump into him turning into Kaneki. But it still felt cliche though. That's the weirdest thing too. Yes, the probably is more cliche if you follow the typical transporting in that thing, then it's probably even more typical isekai cliche. But now instead it's very like typical. Yeah, it feels like Shield Hero / Shokugyou, right? Instead, so it still feels cliche anyway. They didn't manage to not make it feel cliche to me at least. This felt less isekai cliche, but anime cliche in general. It's like Naruto, which has one hidden demon monster inside of you, Bleach. It felt like that a little bit, right? Turning in all the hair color and so on. Yeah, it felt like I'm just still watching a typical like shonen anime instead of isekai anime. It still is very cliche. But yeah, it definitely reminds me of there's a lot of animes when they do more of an action-packed episode 1. But it's confusing. It's confusing. And I haven't even mentioned that, but the CG was like was ugly too, right? I think we all saw it too, yeah. The skeleton was ugly, they were really ugly. And the behemoth was also ugly. And I wish also would have said behemoth over him in a better way too. It was obviously a behemoth for Final Fantasy, but very typical behemoth, yeah. But it didn't look as badass. It was very dark and black. Like I'm comparing it to like Final Fantasy, okay? Because they have the behemoth there in every game, right? And you have the behemoth in FF15, for example. It's quite simple. So also behemoth in FF13 when it's standing on two legs, pretty similar to this behemoth here at whatever that red castle is called when you're flying around, whatever, yeah. No, it's Academia 500, yeah, Academia year 500 is it. So you play that game, and you reckon those two behemoths, compare them to behemoths, this behemoth to 500 year in FF13. Like, they're similar, but in the F32, right, they're much more details. They have more on the arms, maybe the muskets are a little more, showing, right, a little more on this kind of like, how the arm bends. They might have the orange like a bit black, the kind of black with like red lines going a little bit, like maybe some blood coming, maybe the claws are different. This looks very, very black, it's one color scheme, kind of ugly, kind of moving, kind of boring. It didn't feel very inspiring at all. And the skeleton were really ugly. They were, especially when she stabbed it. was even the sword lady stabbed skeleton, right? That looked like one of those, really bad martial art moves. Someone is like, and they kind of like, oh no, I punched him, even if they kind of miss by like a freaking, like they miss by massive distance from the face. Because she kind of stabbed upwards. She kind of did this thing like, and the skeleton was like here skeleton. She's stabbing like here, and it's like the skeleton disappears. It's like, that's how it looked to me at least. Whatever. That's it of it. I'm gonna go watch Copcraft now instead. Which has a Dimension W. Yeah. But this was probably the most disappointing opening, or disappointing I've seen this whole season. Everything has been pretty spot on. Villain yesterday, that was cool. Very svenskt, that was cool. Fire Force, very short and expected, right? Versus Stone, very intriguing, very interesting. That was like really spot on. Everyone's claim is going to be good. All three were really good. The comedy anime season, like Arebaru, was really, really funny. I loved the anime. That was actually incredibly funny. Surprisingly funny. I thought it was going to be funny. And it's like, wow, this is really funny. And for example, Second Beast, before this, that was really good. That was also really, I think Second Beast has been probably, for me, the most actually really good. I was like, it's probably pretty good. Like, it's actually really good in so far it is. And so on. And Dumble, of course, freaking masterful anime. And tomorrow, Are You Lost? That was really fun, the last episode. Medical Senpai was good too. But Are You Lost, coming tomorrow, that is freaking hilarious. With the best girl, you see Berg really, yeah, killing stuff and eating locusts and fish and so on. You Lost is coming tomorrow again. That was freaking hilarious. So far, I feel every anime has either been up to what I expected, or they have been better than I expected them to be. Except this anime. This is pretty much like, okay, this was just confusing. I have to say it, yeah. I mean, it was like Grand Bell at last Friday, and that, I would say that was a worse episode this episode, honestly. I would say Grand Bell, for example, was like a 6 out of 10. It was like pretty watchable, and there I had no expectation. I was like, yeah, okay, this is a new anime. No one is saying it's good. Let's just watch it. That's pretty okay. Here, a lot of people are saying this is gonna be the new isekai season. Right? It's gonna be the best isekai season. So you get in with some hopes. With some like, yeah, okay, the isekai, and then you're like, this was kind of confusing. This is kind of like weird. Is that Kaneki? Is that like Kaneki? Yeah, you get in there and be like, well, I'm watching Shokugyou in a cave. Oh, it's Rimuru. Yeah. Yeah, but this gets okay at best, right? I don't know. I come in here and I feel like it's like it reminds me a lot of Rimuru as well, right? He's in a cave. He's eating like animals. He's getting their powers. He's appearing as a blue mage, so he's learning the abilities of the monsters. Classic blue magician, and he turns into Kaneki when he eats them. So it also is like a very talking group because he eats flesh and he turns into a monster from that. So he left from that, and it's the general, bullied, the weakest hero, the steel hero that everyone else hates, except the one girl though. So it has all the different tropes, modern animes, but it's like a weirdly flashbacks to when you keep jumping back and forth as well. I don't know. I think if they had just done, I mean, if this episode was exactly the same episode, but they had done the order right, so it's like no flashback yet back and forth. It's exact same episode, but rearranging the scenes in the order of the actual days, right? Chronological order, yeah, correctly doing them in that order. The episode actually would have been a lot better. You should do that alone. Just having him into the cave and then survive. I think that would have been better, yeah. More streamlined, easy to understand. I think so. Or at least just 2 flashbacks. Not this like flashback, current time, flashback, current time, flashback, current time. Not current time, but future time, yeah. Then sudden day, yeah. That was weird too, because they went from like current day, flashback, and instead of going back to current day, they actually jumped, I think, ahead of time there, like, day 3 alone instead. So that was the new current time, but didn't explain that, but I assumed it happened. So all of that was like very unnecessary. So I think just doing that for the better, right? Anyways, see you guys later today with I have to say that again. That's a great comment. Even Pero. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Tokyo Ghoul is it's unwatchable. Tokyo Ghoul is really, really unwatchable. But they were great season 1 though. The problem with Tokyo Ghoul actually from of course Studio Pero, which is funny too because Pero of course is clown in French, right? And you have the clowns in Tokyo Ghoul, so it's really fun. They have the Peros. Tokyo Ghoul's problem, season 2 to 4, is more that so much is happening. 2 is a little weird, but 3 and 4 at least. So much is happening. They have like the weirdest, highest pacing ever in anime, where it's like, here's 50 characters in one episode, new characters. And then episode, and they're all dead. It's like, you're like, what's happening? And like the fight scenes. And I mentioned when I watched Tokyo Ghoul last year, right? And then I was like, there is this scene in Tokyo Ghoul where 2 people are fighting, and none of them has ever been like announced or shown before, and they're fighting each other, and it's like, I watched that live reaction, right? And I was like, I don't know who to root for here. I have no idea who is bad or good in this fight. I love that to go. I'm like completely confused. I'm like, I don't know who is the good. Maybe they're both evil. I don't know, right? Because they haven't really explained to me who these characters are. And they were fighting, and then one guy dies, and I was like, I don't know if this is sad. I don't know if that was like a meaningful character, because he just appeared this episode and now he's dead, and it's like, and the guy that killed him, I never seen him before either. So that's Tokyo Ghoul. But Tokyo Ghoul is like, at least it is from point A to B, right? This episode here, I would say in that sense was worse than a Tokyo Ghoul episode, because yeah, again, right, it went like this instead in time frame, instead of going like that, like a rocket in one direction at least. Another anime, of course, last season and the 3 last that's similar is, of course, Katakuri Circus, which actually was really good in the end. It actually it was good in the beginning, it went down, and then it was good in the end. But that also had a pacing issue where it just went from like they're like similar there. They're adapting like 50 chapter per episode, and it's just like amazingly high paced. So you get really like what's happening to all the characters. But this felt, and that's interesting though, in this episode here of synergist here, because it is not even high paced, right? It is not confusing or perplexing because it's going so incredibly quickly. In anything, this episode is pretty slow. Yeah, if anything, this episode actually gave me not very much to go on. They could have skipped over him killing the bunny. They could have skipped over him killing the wolves almost. They could have done that much, much faster. They killed the next wolf with lightning and so on. A little interesting, but I mean, it actually wasn't that fast. And especially the bridge scene, the behemoth bridge scene, they jump back and forth between the bridge thing. But if you take it all together, they're on the bridge on several minutes, right? Him being shot in the face, that's the important thing there. And they probably spent like at least 5 minutes in that bridge scene all together. Like 1 minute there, 1 minute there, 2 minutes there, 1 minute there. They probably could have done it in probably 2 minutes probably. So yeah, they actually had very little happened. And I feel this episode probably could have been at least 5 minutes shorter and have the other 5 minutes explaining the game board stuff, explaining the isekai, explaining how the hero power works, the XP and so on. Whatever. We have to see next week. Hopefully it's better. Hopefully Bunny Girl is awesome. Obviously she's really attractive at least. The opening had a lot of fan service at least. There might be some horror HG fan service in the anime. The opening also spoiled he was going to turn into Kaneki. That's true as well though. But yeah, very weird episode. As I said, my most disappointing anime this season, I think so far, from episode 1. Yeah, like it's like not the worst episode, but from like the hype versus what I actually got. Yeah, what I expected, what I got, right? Yeah, whereas some other animes might have really low expectations, and they weren't, and they were it's kind of true. So this is a bit more disappointing. But yeah, see you guys hopefully my Cope Craft live reaction coming up in maybe an hour or something with the break, and then watching Cope Craft, and of course tomorrow then watching Magical Senpai and Are You Lost, right? Which again, Are You Lost? That was incredibly funny actually. I was freaking out how funny that was. That was actually incredibly funny. I thought it was gonna be 7 out of 10, but that's like a 10 out of 10 comedy. That was actually hilarious. So you guys, tomorrow also of course Black Clover, as every Tuesday is Black Clover, yeah.